Spider skeletons.
Bye.
It's the skeleton crew and it's the podcast. Here I am with Sardo. He's my co-host. I am Stross. Look out.
Look
It's the
out.
Skeleton Crew podcast. Hi everyone. Our
So
canon
when you're
event
asking-
is what happens when we drink too much alcohol.
So tomorrow, Stross, when you're waiting on the thumbnail to be delivered, are you gonna tell me, send me pictures of Spider-Man?
You know, J. Jonah Jameson actually was in the movie, so
Yeah, he was.
yeah. But before we before we bury the lead too much, Hi everyone, welcome to the Skeleton Crew podcast. I'm Stross, that's Sardo. We're talking about Across the Spider-Verse, so I'm gonna warn everyone now. While we're here, this is a spoiler-filled zone.
Yeah, there's gonna be plenty of spoilers. We're making no bones about it. If you haven't seen it yet and you care about spoilers, skip this episode until you've seen it.
Or don't. I don't care. I'm not gonna stop you. We warned you.
know.
So you can't blame
I'm not
us.
your dad. I can't tell you what to do.
I
but-
personally hate spoiler culture, so there's that.
I mean, it matters to some people. It doesn't matter to everybody. But
I think it's
we're
terrible, bad, and a cancer on discussion. But this movie literally came out like 3 weeks ago, so.
Yeah. But point is, so Stross, you saw Across the Spider-Verse last night, right?
Yes, I did. I also keep saying Into the Spider-Verse by mistake all the time.
I will probably do that at least once during this recording.
Once?
I'm sorry.
I'm like planning on doing it at least 3 times.
Either way.
You can afford yourself a few more mistakes. They're
I
very
afford myself
much the
plenty.
same title with one word difference. It's not like
Well, hence why I said at least once.
Mhm.
But Stross, what'd you think?
It's good. It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, in turn, very fun.
I would agree on both counts. And I want to get ahead of something before we really begin talking about the movie itself. Some stuff that's come out very recently around kind of the production of the movie, in that it did not treat its artists well. And
a surprise to, I feel like, no one in the grand scheme of
yeah,
things. And things
yeah.
that I wish were shocking but are not.
yeah, it's like I was kind of afraid that something like that would come out, like. And as you know, after the discussion we had about Miura last week, I feel like it's important to mention that it's like we both enjoyed the movie. We really enjoyed the movie.
It's beautiful, wonderful, and also treat your artist better.
Yeah,
Sony.
because like if you treat your artists well, you can make more good movies. What a fucking crazy thought that is. And also just artists are people and they don't deserve to be put into like the meat grinder of capitalism. But yeah, I wanted to.
The billionaires into the meat grinder, though?
Yes.
Woo! All right!
But of course, obviously. But I
man,
wanted
I'm gonna make a new Limousine album.
Limousine.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention that before we began. Just, you know.
Yeah. Understand. We want to just say we understand first and foremost that we are going to be doing a lot of praising, so we're going to get that out of the way.
And all the praise goes to the artists because, mother of God.
And the writers, because you wrote a good thing.
And the writers.
Pay your writers.
Also,
Pay your
everybody
actors.
involved. And in the creation of this film.
Pay me. And Sardo.
Yes.
Not for the movie, just in general. We will gladly take money.
I like money. I need it to live.
Yeah.
But Across the Spider-Verse kind of, I think it does a nice job of setting us up kind of where we left off from the last movie and giving us a little bit of a short recap of what happened I actually had a friend who watched this with me, and he hadn't seen the first movie, and it made total sense to him.
I'm
So,
I'm surprised that you had any friend not see the first movie.
some people didn't get around to it. That's all right.
I'm not
I
saying that's like a bad thing. I'm just surprised that it wasn't like it wasn't like that movie didn't get incredibly good word of mouth.
Oh yeah.
Because we should start with first things first. Into the Spider-Verse, also a very good movie. You should go see it
Yes.
if you haven't already. And if you
Like,
want, watch it again.
It's got Nicolas Cage, a Spider-Man noir, one
Yeah.
of my favorite Spider-Men.
Sadly, Spider Noir was not in this movie for all but a brief cameo appearance at the end.
I hope we get to see him more in the next one.
Like, I get it. Like, hey, a very he wouldn't fit in the tone of half of this movie.
No, he wouldn't have.
So I guess I will. You want me to recap basically what goes down in this movie?
By all means, please do.
All right. So this movie starts off actually in a very different spot than where we left off in the last movie, and that is in the realm of Spider Gwen, the Gwen of Spider that we are familiar with from the first movie. As
Our
we
girl
kind of
Gwen Stacy.
yeah, Gwen Stacy. We go through sort of her daily, sort of her going ons, as those aren't going great because being Spider-Man apparently means you have to suffer. Like,
Of course.
and if it's not suffer in your story, it's suffer from Marvel editorial. Anyway,
Yes, indeed.
all my comic book friends have been, yes, good Stross. Remember to blame them.
Of course.
But, you know, we go through how her Peter died because, you know, it's the opposite of what happened to Gwen Stacy normally, which is
Mm-hmm.
bad. This is also brought up in the movie. And then eventually she gets called in. Well, she doesn't get called, but she fights the Vulture, but it's not her Vulture. It's a different Vulture. A very weird Renaissance-y era Vulture.
It's Michelangelo Vulture.
Yeah, or something like that. And everyone's just like, oh, this is different. And then out of the blue comes Spider-Man. But not our Spider-Man. Spider-Man of 2099 and Spider-Woman. Well, one of them.
You might also know Spider-Man 2099 as that fucker that gets all the fan art drawn of him.
Yeah, I'll bring that up.
More on that later.
I have a comment on that from a tweet. And then apparently she gets recruited to a thing, and then we come back to Miles. His intro, sort of the recap of who Miles is and his life. And, you know, how he is late, much like Spider-Man in general, is late to something because he's too busy doing the Spider-Man thing.
Of course.
Which is very common spidery Manny goings on, as he tries to capture a villain named Spot.
And I loved Spot. Spot was, I feel like, one of the many high points of the movie. Spot's great.
Yeah. Anyway, what we learn is Spot is like, you made me. I'm your arch nemesis. He's like, dude, I don't know who the hell you are.
You're a villain of the week.
But what we learn is, over time, as Miles is because of the Spider-Manning thing, is having some tension with his parents.
Mm-hmm.
There are also a lot of jokes in here, by the way, for those who don't know. I don't know if you get Sardo, but I got, because A, I lived in New York, and more importantly, B, no various Latinos in New York. There's a joke at some point in here where it's like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, he must be Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that joke? Because I got that joke.
I didn't get that joke. Please explain.
So there is a very famed rivalry, especially in New York, between Dominicans and Puerto Ricans in New York. It's a thing.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
And Miles Morales being part Puerto Rican from his mom, from his incredibly hot mom.
Oh my god, his mom is a babe.
Also his hot dad. He also has a hot dad.
His parents are both, like, very attractive people.
Like, it makes sense that their son also happens to be a good-looking kid.
Yeah, they are very nice looking
They
people.
that is some damn good genetics you got there, Miles. All I know is when you
Yeah.
get older, if you even look like half as good as your mom or dad, you're going to be doing fine.
It's like, Miles, your mom's hot. I'm sorry, man.
Smile, your mom's hot. So is your dad. Your mom's hotter than your dad, but I mean, have you looked at your mom?
Yeah.
I mean,
But
probably.
anyway,
We need to mention that Rio Morales is an incredibly hot woman.
she's beautiful. We love her.
But anyway, so what happens is Gwen comes back and is just like, hey, Miles. They hang out for a bit. And what we learn is that really Gwen's not supposed to really be there. She has to capture Spot because Spot is, whoops, opening holes in the multiverse and might collapse space time.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that Spot is actually very dangerous because he's causing these dimensional rifts and he is destroying worlds with his powers,
And we,
basically.
our first stop across the Spider Verse is Indian Spider Man. That was fun.
Pavitra Prakbahar.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I'm not. The Bollywood Spider Man was very fun. Uh, he was played by, how does his name go? I know what it is when I see it. It's like
Let me.
Marasha Hall, like Ali, I believe.
Yeah, Marshala Halali.
Yeah, he was fun. That whole thing was fun. And what we learn is that by accident, there's this thing called canon events, where basically every Spider-Man has to go through a canon event that causes pain and suffering.
I.e., Uncle Ben dying.
Well,
That's a
not just,
canon event.
yeah, your uncle dying or whatever the equivalent is. Um, you know, uh, Captain Stacy has to die,
Hmm.
etc., etc. And what we learn is that Gwen got recruited by Miguel O'Hara, aka the Uber Catholic.
Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, he's Mexican and Irish. You don't get much more Catholic than those two things combined. The only way he's
Yeah.
more Catholic is if he was raised in Italy and was a cardinal.
And that would be a very wild string of events.
Yeah. But basically, the point is what we learn is Miguel basically tells Miles that, hey, anomalies are bad. It will destroy the multiverse. And whoops,
Hmm.
you caused a bad thing to happen by doing a good thing. And then what we learn is that Miles himself is an anomaly. He became Spider-Man entirely by accident.
The spider that bit him was from another dimension.
Earth 42, as it's known, because each Earth is numbered in the
Hmm.
Marvel multiverse. It's weird. Point is, Miguel, who's kind of,
An
well,
asshole.
he's kind of an asshole, but it's like the type of asshole you feel for, and like you get where he's
Yeah,
coming from.
like,
Like he fucked up Royal one point, and as far as he knows, it was his fault that an entire dimension basically got vaporized.
yeah.
I don't know how someone comes back from that as a happy chipper man.
Well, and like, Miguel's a good character because Miguel is, he's not the villain of the movie, he's the antagonist. Because he's clearly opposing Miles, who is our hero, and we root for Miles and we want Miles to be happy and succeed and do all his things because he's a good lad. But also, like, Miguel has like understandable reasons for being upset. It's still funny to watch a grown man beef with a 15-year-old,
What are
but
you talking about? We do that every other weekend.
true, true.
We beef with teenagers all the time. It's called work.
But that's different because you're paid to do it.
Is he paid to do this? I don't know how actually this part
No,
works.
I think he's just doing this for fun, or whatever his idea of
But
fun is.
anyway, what this leads to is to a giant like oh no moment where Miles goes like, yeah, no, fuck you. And not like that. He's like, I'm not gonna, because what he learns is his dad will die because that's his Captain Stacy in this
Hmm.
situation. And he's just like, you're saying I can't save my dad knowing full well I can do it? And so, one really insane chase sequence later.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Very. I feel so bad for the animators because holy shit.
I mean, I think I felt bad for whoever had to draw half of that shit because their hands must have been tired.
Yeah.
Like, even if the working conditions were good, that probably hurt.
Yes.
And what happens is Miles sends himself back, or so he thought. We are left on a cliffhanger on Earth 42, the Earth without Spider-Man.
And we find out in this universe, Miles's dad has already died. His uncle Aaron from the last movie, if you remember him, still very much alive.
But it's not the Prowler
And
this time, because the Prowler this time
no,
is...
it's Miles himself, or as I like to call this version, Kilometers Immorales, who looks really fucking cool. He looks
yeah.
awesome.
Oh no, the whole movie looks great. Obviously, character design's been fantastic, and there's a whole bunch of fun characters along the way. We haven't even mentioned Hobie.
Whoa.
We'll talk more about characters specific. That's just basically the blow by blow of what happened.
Yeah, but that's the movie, more or less. There's a lot going on. It doesn't feel like 2 hours. The pacing is brisk and nice.
It was something that if you don't know that it's a two-parter, because they don't make it clear that it's a two-parter, you're gonna be a bit annoyed because it kind of just stops.
Yeah, that's the only downside.
That's really the only criticism, and it's just like if you know that going in, then it's fine.
Yeah,
I did. Z didn't. Z was a bit more. It's sort of like you get a bit of blue balled, for lack of a better term. If you didn't know, if you knew that it was like half a movie, you're less annoyed by it because you're like, oh, it's a great like first half.
Like, I didn't know it was the first half, but also I think I was a little relieved because I feel like there is so much going on there that to try to fit an entire second act into that would have been a clusterfuck.
Oh no. It should be noted that this movie, because it's made into two, the one thing it does have going for it is that it lets the characters breathe a lot more than you get in most animated features. Because I'm not going to be like super down on this. On other animated features is that animation takes a long time to make and do. So like a 90-minute animated feature is a lot of hard work to begin with. So it's like making a 2-hour, like, I'm trying to think of other 2-hour animated films. I need to check something real quick. Is Princess Mononoke 2 hours? I think it is. What do you think it is? Well, yeah, it is. It's actually longer than this movie. It's like 11 minutes longer.
Well, there you go.
Which makes sense now that I think about it, because when I think of movies this reminds me of in terms of like, oh, there's like moments for the characters to just
breathe.
Yeah, to breathe. And this movie does a great job at that. Like, you get a feeling of Miguel as like, he's an antagonist, but is he the bad guy? That really depends on how you think about things.
Yeah. It's debatable. It depends on your perspective.
Well, like, as we see towards the end, maybe Miguel is wrong. Not because he's a bad person, but because maybe things aren't set in stone.
And because he is so traumatized by his own experiences that he paints everything else with the same brush as his own.
Which, admittedly, if your same brush situation is literal ending up destroying an entire world by accident, you get it. It's hard not to feel for the man. Also because he's wonderfully played by a very attractive person.
Oscar Isaac!
The only downside is Oscar Isaac is not Mexican. Or Irish, I think. I am going to plane. Let me check that. I know he's not Mexican.
And when we talk characters, I want to talk voice actors too, because the voice cast in this is really, really good.
Yeah, because Oscar Isaac is Guatemalan. That's close,
Mm.
but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. I am more qualified to play Miguel O'Hara than Oscar Isaac by ethnic origin.
Okay, Stross, real quick, give us your best Miguel O'Hara. This is your audition.
I just insert a musical sting here as I come across the whole thing.
Do, 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 do.
I feel like I'm not gonna put an actual musical sting, but that I need to talk about the fact that I love the fact that the musical sting that Miguel gets is so obviously scary sounding.
Oh yeah.
Like it because it appears very early on. Now, it should be noted this is not I'm just joking about the fact that Oscar Isaac is not qualified because he's totally great in this movie. I'm just making fun of the fact that he's Guatemalan.
Yeah.
As one thing one must understand about Latinos is that it's like a brother relationship between all of us. We're all rivals to each other until the Spaniard walks in. And then we all
Fair enough.
And then the noise that happens when he shows up on screen with like the spooky musical sting?
Yes.
That's what happens when we all turn towards the Spaniard and point at him and go, "Invader!"
You know, that sounds about right from what I've heard from other people, and totally justified.
Yes, it is justified. But the point is, Oscar Isaac's great. The whole cast is fantastic. Not a dud among them.
I want to give a special shout out to Daniel Kaluuya, who voices Hobie in this Spider-Punk. If he doesn't get an Oscar sometime in the next 10 years, I'm gonna go to a studio exec and punch them in the dick, because that man deserves all the trophies because he's not been in one bad thing.
Also, like, shout out to Jason Schwartzman as Spot. Perfectly
Yes.
capturing, like, someone who isn't scary but is supposed to be scary and thinks he's supposed to be scary.
He does a fantastic job.
Let's see. Oh my god, I didn't realize Andy Samberg was Ben Reilly in this movie.
Yep.
He's great too.
Also, he was. I cackled so much when Ben Reilly was on the screen.
Yeah,
because,
every time Ben Reilly's on screen, he is just like doing the whole like,
look behind me. There's a wall. That's normal.
everything is dark. There's also a lot of cameos in this, like, let's see, who else do we want to mention is in this movie? There's a lot. I think, I'm just checking, I believe they even have Yuri Lowenthal's in this movie because he plays the video game Spider-Man, and they do a joke.
Yeah.
Let's see, Donald Glover's in this movie.
Donald Glover as he's live action. Yeah, he's the Prowler.
There's a lot of like mixed media jokes in here, which makes sense because as much as Phil Lord is currently properly being dragged through by the medias, there's even a Lego Spider-Man in here, where we get our beloved Jonah Jameson as voiced by J.K. Simmons. Thank God he's still around to play that character.
Nobody could do it like him. You're the best we have.
Oh no, it's not Marshall Ali. It's Karan Sani who plays.
Oh, okay.
Marshall Ali is Uncle Aaron. Duh. I should have known. That's
right.
I sorry. The main very excellent credit sequence doesn't really tell you who plays who. I'm like, wow, I want to apologize to an Oscar-nominated actor who is incredibly talented.
Yeah, I want to issue a little correction there. Sorry about that. I didn't catch that either.
But yeah, very fun. Everyone's great. There's a lot of people in this movie.
There are so many good designs. I love all the different spider people, and I love the trends that this has sparked of making your own spider
I
person.
mean, this movie basically said all Spider-Mans are canon in some way, shape, or form. So go wild, internet. I mean, you already are, but like, go wild.
I'm in the process of making mine right now.
Oh, are you making yourself a Spider-Man's? Is it Spider's Man? You can't do Spider's Man. That already exists.
No, I already told you about my Spider-Man.
Well,
But
just say it to the audience to give us a preview of your work.
Australia's Spider-Man, his name is George Speederman, spelled like Spider-Man. And he is a tarantula that was exposed to radioactive human saliva, and he became a man-sized spider.
That's
And he has
he's in
two very
the
loving twin parents.
yeah, two of them, but but the best part about it, he that would join the legion of spider people who are like Spider's Man,
Yes,
who is a collection of spiders who think they're Peter Parker.
very good, very cool.
Yeah, but one of my favorite spider people is Spider's Fan because it's just such a goofy concept. It's something it's something you only get in comic books. And speaking of comic books, the ending being like a cliffhanger is also extremely comic book.
This is like, I think, the best movie that feels like a comic book since probably Creepshow,
I mean,
and that's
I
high
was,
praise.
I mean, I was gonna say since Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, well, I mean, not counting that because it's part of the same
Yeah,
series.
fair. I mean, one of the things I think like the Spider-Verse movies as they have been, and what I've liked about them, and you're probably going to agree with me when I say it, is that they, unlike a lot of comic book movies, they're not ashamed to feel like a comic book.
No, they don't pussyfoot around that shit. There's no like self-consciousness about it.
Yeah, there's no point where I'm like, man, this comic book, like, one of the problems I have with a lot of the comic book movies is that, like, they kind of want to pretend that they're comic book movies.
But they're it's the sense of like they're too cool for comic books. Like, I'm sick of comic book movies made by people who fucking hate comic books.
Yeah. And so it was nice when we get some.
Hmm.
But yeah, we're super excited for the next one whenever that happens because, well, hopefully Sony cleans up its act. That'd be nice.
Jesus fucking Christ, Sony, I don't care if it takes 20 years for the next movie to come out.
Well, okay,
Take
maybe
your
don't
time.
take 20 years. Some people might die in the interim, and that's just going to be awkward for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, preferably under 20 years.
I don't think it would take 20 years, even if you were doing things better. And,
Right, but
I'm not saying no crunch. I'm saying no crunch, but I don't think even with no crunch, that movie would have taken, like, that long. These are professionals we're talking about. I'm pretty sure they're very good at their jobs. I saw what their work looks like.
it's an exaggeration. But
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. I take your time. It's worth waiting for.
Unless it's already done, where in that case, well...
Oh, it's not.
I know it's not done. But if it was, then, like, well, so be it. Yeah, finished.
Yeah.
But I will say, all that aside, who was your favorite spider person who showed up in the movie?
Hobie, without a doubt.
So now we
Hobie.
can talk about Hobie, aka Spider Punk, aka the newest hot guy on the block, a punk rock Spider-Man who hates the AM, hates the PM. I got your joke, Hobie.
He's not a role model. He was once a runway model.
Yep. A very fun sort of like chaotic character who just kind of goes around being a problem.
And it was nice to see like kind of a punk anarchist character in a movie that wasn't played off as a joke. Like he stuck to like the tenets of that really well. He was very true to like the culture of punk and everything that goes with it. And also just like a really good like mentor, older brother kind of figure, especially to Miles.
And also, like, speaking of the tenants point, also being very annoying about it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
But yeah,
Because like
like,
you've got to be annoying about it.
and not always in a way that's like, it's like, man, you luckies, you hot.
But I support Hobie Brown in all that he does.
Yeah. And as we see at the end, because as we learn at the end of it, Gwen's just like, this is bullshit. You're full of bullshit. Miguel, you're a dick. I'm out of here.
Hmm.
And she, because Hobie is Hobie, he's like, hey, girl, I quit when no one was looking. So my shit
Well,
still works.
and that's the thing that Hobie was stealing parts from like the Spider-Man Universal HQ to build a like non-licensed time travel device
That can't be
for
controlled
Miles.
by Miguel. And what we need to understand here is that reminds me, we have to be reminded that Spider-Man is supposed to be an intelligent person.
Yeah,
So,
Spider-Man, a smart dude.
yeah.
Typically, usually.
But yeah, I would say it was very good. And like everything that was in this movie was good. Kind of no notes about the movie other than I don't know, make it more clear that it's like a two-parter.
Yeah.
And maybe more Penny Parker because I like her.
Penny Parker's fun.
Yeah, she's only in the movie for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we at least she gets a speaking part though.
Yeah, at least she gets to speak. Unlike poor Nicolas Cage, who I'm guessing they're saving all their cage for the next one.
He's gonna be uncaged in part 3, I'm sure.
Full cage.
I want to see him punch some Nazis.
I don't think there's a Nazi Spider-Man, so we'll find out.
Well, of course there's no Nazi Spider-Man, but I'm sure Spider-Man could fight Nazis.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's got to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how all of it plays out. So I'm okay. You want to ask your question? Go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask because you asked me. I apologize. Who was your favorite Stross in this movie?
New favorite Spider-Man? Well, I'm gonna go with Miguel because it's like a good like actually like sympathetic antagonist.
Yeah.
Who, like you feel like okay. So like my problem when it comes to like nuanced characters, like I've been saying this for a while now, that most people don't actually want nuanced characters in their thing. They just want like a villain who is understandable, if that makes any sense.
And hot.
Well,
Let's be real. And hot.
Well, yeah. Well, like my point is that people like the idea of a nuanced character who's like actually complicated. But then when you actually offer them one, they're like, this is a horrible villain. And I'm like,
They're unlikable.
Trust me, I've been part of the Edelgard discourse for like 4 years now.
Oh, heavens.
We're in year 4 of this stuff, so you know what?
Yeah.
You can't apparently have a character who is nuanced, but like Miguel does a really good job of like, okay, I get what happened to you and why you're like this, but also maybe you're wrong. And the movie does a good job of proving that there is a point where, hey, Miguel is wrong, but not in a way that he would have thought.
Yeah, he's not trying to be a dick, but he ends up being one through his actions that he can't see. And that's tragic.
And he's also incredibly zealous.
Yes.
Because what we learn at the end of the movie, as Gwen is shoved back into her own dimension, is that she runs into her father, who, at the start of the movie, thought Spider-Gwen killed Peter Parker, which, whether or not she actually did or not, is probably still up for debate.
It's looking like horrible accident.
Like, either she killed him or that the serum that turned him into the lizard, and a very different lizard, by the way.
Hmm.
Good creature design here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Monitor lizard style.
Yes.
And what we see here with her is that it's debatable whether or not she even killed Peter Parker, or if the serum he took killed him.
Hmm.
So it's like he was screwed either way. That's unknown. Obviously, we're not. Who knows what comes out of it? Because
Right.
that's not the point. The point is, like, after he learns that his daughter Gwen Stacy is the Spider Girl. He's like, basically, as she disappeared for a few months, he quit the force because he's like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's like suddenly he's not Captain Stacy anymore.
And that.
Therefore he shouldn't die because he's no longer Captain Stacy.
Hmm.
So we're now so now technically her canon event won't happen.
So she's fine. Maybe.
And as far as we know, her dimension isn't falling apart because it's been months of this now.
Yeah.
So therefore, maybe Miguel isn't 100% correct. Maybe it's just because when, India Spider-Man, who showed us where his traffic is, and his traffic is, it's like Mumbattan, which is such
Mumbattan.
yeah, which is such a good, very joke name. Like was falling apart. Maybe that was just Spot moving through it because he's a walking like multiverse hole. So
Yeah.
So maybe and also as we know, like we also could state Earth 42 and Miles' dimension are fine. Sort of. Maybe they figure out a way. Maybe they run into one of my favorite things that Marvel ever done. Do you know about the thing they did with the Fantastic Four in one of the comics?
Explain.
Okay, so one of the things, the gods exist in like not like Thor and Odin, but like actual gods of the Marvel universe exist. Do you know who they are?
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. K. You got guests. It's just Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, and Steve Ditko.
Oh.
Like there's a famous set of panels from I don't know which Fantastic Four story where they meet just Jack Kirby and he's just doing his Jack Kirby thing.
Rest in peace, Jack Kirby. Truly a godly artist.
Yeah, but it's just like that's the thing. So I could totally see this ending of like all of them in an office somewhere in like New York being like, where are we? Oh, you're here to see Mr. K? Or Mr. L? I'll call him up. Hey.
It's like, who?
It's like, are we meeting God? Yeah. Sorry about that. We make you.
That would be very good. Very clever.
Yeah, they could. I'm okay if they don't do it, but it would be funny.
Yes. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's an idea that they could do. But yeah, no. So basically, as we see, like the final shot of the movie is Gwen with the original sort of lineup of Spider Peoples. Peter B. Parker and his new daughter Mayday, who is adorable.
She's super cute baby. It's nice to see them let Peter Parker be a dad.
You know how many Spider-Man fans would love to see that be normal? You know how many?
I'm one of them.
Exactly.
I'm one of them.
But yeah, and
let Peter be a dad.
Spider Noir's there. Gwen, Hobie is there. Our fresh new, what's it? I keep forgetting his name because it's like, what is his official Spider-Man name for? Because for Indian Spider-Man?
I don't remember. I do think he is still just Spider-Man. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I
but
he's also
Bollywood Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
as we're gonna call him,
A good old Paviter.
Bavita, Spider-Punk, Penny Parker, because she's technically not called anything Spider-Man. She's called Penny.
No. Yeah.
Spider-Pig,
Spider-Pig. Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham, and is there anyone else who was a part of that that I missed?
Uh, Nobody off the top
Other
of my
than
head.
Gwen herself, because I feel like she gathers up the crew and they're going to go help Miles.
Yeah.
Because everyone,
Time to save.
because there's this great moment towards the end of the movie where they slowly realize Miles is in the wrong universe,
Oh my god.
and it's what I love about that sequence is how long it takes. Like, cause like I knew immediately because I was watching the screen. It said Universe 40, like Earth 42.
Yes.
So we know, but it's that sort of like waiting for the characters to realize.
Yeah, it's not something that everybody might know right off the bat.
Yeah, and it's just like, because everything is mostly the same
Mostly.
until like he realizes like, wait, I'm not back home.
And because he does a whole coming out of like, Mom, I'm Spider-Man.
And his mom's like,
and
the hell are you talking about? What the fuck's a Spider-Man? In fact, she makes a Comic-Con joke, which is also really funny.
it's very cute.
And then it's like, oh wait, my Uncle Aaron's alive. That's wrong. And then that's when we learn the whole Prowler thing for this universe. We'll see where that plays out.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like this very interesting, like, great cliffhanger of like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Who knows?
So I guess a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think in the next movie Miguel's gonna get a little bit of like a redemption arc?
I think so because, unlike with, say, the Kingpin, who, you know, Miguel is a lot like, but in a different direction.
Yes.
If Miguel can be proven wrong, I think he would change his ways. Like, if you could prove that it was not his fault, that the Earth supposedly, because we now have to question whether or not it actually was his fault, was destroyed, then hey, maybe it was, like, it could easily be that the universe that got destroyed was because of the Kingpin's actions.
Right.
In the first movie. I'm not saying it will be that, but that's a sort of...
There's a chance.
Yeah, there's like a non-0% chance.
Yeah.
But basically the point is, as I'm gonna say it, is that I think he can be redeemed because he's not evil.
Yeah, he's not evil.
He's not a guy he doesn't want to hurt Miles. In the sense that he just wants to, like, make things go smoothly so the universe doesn't get destroyed.
As you said, he's very zealous.
Yeah. He's very zealous because, as far as he knows, there's only one way this ends, and that is with everyone dying. And his logic is not bad, because the whole point, and it's hilarious that this week's Chainsaw Man basically kind of had both of our main characters say the same thing. And that is, I pick both.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
It's like, fuck you, I do what I want.
I also thought too, there was a little bit that was kind of an interesting reference to the way that I think Miles has been treated by a not insubstantial chunk of the fan base, with Miguel during the scene where he's fighting him, going, "You don't belong here. You're not Spider-Man. You're an anomaly." And Miles is like, "No, I am Spider-Man.
And it's just,
And I
mind you, the directors have stated that was 100% intentional.
yes.
That
Yes.
they have stated that yes, part of that was to the initial, rather, let's be honest, racist reaction to
Yes.
Miles Morales when he first showed up. And mind you, Miles is a very popular character for the most part. In general, I don't know many.
But
The people who don't like Miles, 99.9999999% of the time, are usually people you don't want to talk to, anyways.
yes, true. But it's still nice to see a little bit of a fuck you directed towards those people.
There's also a
But
very like subtle, once again, Latino scene. He calls Miguel, and I'm not sure if you heard it because it's not super loud.
hmm
He calls Miguel Tio.
yes, yes, I did see that.
Well, I more have heard that. I would say it's probably more
Yeah,
accurate.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like
No,
technically
I
you
was
can't. And mind you, this is one of the rare movies where you can see words.
I was really I'm kind of proud of myself actually of how much Spanish I understood. I've been learning it and
Yeah, this is a movie where all the Spanish is not subtitled
ah, so like
because
you
People like Miles knows what his mom is saying to him.
yeah.
There's a joke about when they think, like, oh, is he seeing this girl? I bet she doesn't even speak Spanish.
And I thought too the sort of sub story with Miles and his mom and her struggling with seeing him grow up and, become more independent. I thought that was really sweet and really well done.
Yeah, sort of a weird C plot. It's technically not even the B plot.
But
But
it's something that's there.
yeah, it's like the C plot. It's like one of the undercurrents of the movie is that Miles's parents are like having to learn that Miles is growing up and that eventually they're going to have to let him go.
hmm
And they struggle with that, like a lot of caring parents do.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
And
my little boy's becoming a little man.
and in a world where people aren't always going to be kind to my son and they're not going to treat him as well as we've treated him because the world is fucking horrible sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really sweet. I really liked that. I got a little bit choked up sometimes because of that.
It's a good movie.
Also, my other favorite thing about this movie, Spider Cat.
Spider Cat. Spider Cat.
Spider Cat.
There's a
I was
lot
so
of different spider everything. There's a spider dinosaur. Spider Rex
Yes.
would probably be the most accurate because it is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So can this get any weirder? Yes, actually it can. Immediately.
Also, the Spider Cowboy and his horse that also has spider powers. I
Why does
love
the
the
horse need a
cowboy
mask?
to protect his identity. I loved Spider Cowboy, but the idea of a horse being able to like walk on the ceiling is inherently very distressing to me. Very scary. 0 out of 10.
Yep. It's a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
It's very pretty. The music's great. Almost, there's really not a lot of notes of problems with this movie. Like, it's not perfect, obviously, but it's just like, it's one of those movies where it's like, yeah, no, it just does what it needs to do. And it does it well.
Like, I saw before I went in, some of those memes about, like, I went into this movie and 2 hours later I came back a completely different person. And it's like, it's a really good movie, but it's like, no, they were right.
Yeah. No, I knew after the first one that, like, I wasn't worried that it was going to be bad.
hmm My expectations were high, but this exceeded all of them.
Yeah, I like. There's been no point where I'm like, it was good. Like, I had zero issues.
And I mean, I'll admit I am not as viciously thirsty for him as some people I know are, but
We need to talk about Miguel O'Hara being hot, aren't we?
I want to give a best supporting role to Miguel O'Hara's dump truck.
No, my favorite part was there was a tweet. It's the person sleeping soundly
Uh-huh.
thing, but it was
Uh,
it was Spider-Verse spoilers. Miguel O'Hara's ass.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I'm glad to see Spider-Man 2099 getting all the love for being also one of the weirder Spider-Man characters.
He doesn't actually have spider senses, and they show that a few times in the movie, and I think that's very interesting.
He like Spider-Man 2099 is a very weird character.
He is.
He's a weird character made. It's a very weird character made in a very weird way.
Mm-hmm. But I think they did a nice job with him here. I like how everybody was handled. I can't really think of anybody that I think was done a disservice in this movie.
Our biggest complaints are maybe some characters we particularly like got more screen time, but that's like, sure, we would have loved a full Cage sequence, but you know what? It's fine that he can be in the next part of the movie.
I liked this cast so much that I didn't actually care that Spider-Man Noir wasn't there.
Yeah, no, it's like Penny Parker, she was there in a new spider suit. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And her actually more accurate to her comic book outfit, as I've learned.
Yeah.
I need to read that. It looks neat.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And we are apparently going to be seeing more of Hobie in the next Spider-Verse. So, very excited for that. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
He's the big brother that I wish I had had because dude is so fucking cool.
And this is where the British took all our stuff. Good joke.
See, I like the idea of him and Pavitra teaming up to like fuck shit up. I think that'd be fun. I think they should be friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, on that note, any other comments you have about Across the Spider-Verse?
I almost opened up this episode by changing the lyrics to the Beatles' Across the Universe, but realized I don't remember how that song goes, and it just slowly morphs into Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
It's okay, I don't remember either.
So yeah, there's that. That is our thoughts on Across the Spider-Verse. Go see it. It
was good.
It was good. Totally worth it. Go see the first one first because you might as well. It's also really good, and that's like 3.5 hours of like really good movie.
It's solid. It's so solid. I'm so excited for when this comes out. I might actually buy this on like DVD.
I'm surprised I haven't bought the first one yet on it. Did I? No, I don't think so.
Yeah. And also, Sony execs, treat your fucking workers better, or else I'm gonna take your mom out for a nice seafood dinner and then never call her again. Thank you.
And Phil Lord, make up your mind. Come on, man. You've been working in animation for too long to do this shit.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, dude.
You made Clone High 20 years ago.
Yeah. Fucking
also,
get it together.
Also, Clone High is back, and that's just kind of weird. Not in a bad way. It's just kind of a weird, like, huh.
Time is a flat circle somehow.
Yeah, time is weird. Time is weird. With that said, Sardo, watch or play, read anything interesting since we last did the podcast?
I'll admit I haven't been watching or reading anything much independently this week because I have been very busy with a lot of different stuff, but we have been I haven't been playing it. You've been playing it, but I've been there for moral support. Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people.
Yeah, that's been what I've been streaming. We've been having a great time. We've been hilariously quiet. We're too busy just
I would
grinning
say
from ear to ear.
reverently quiet.
We're like, no, we're letting Matt Chapman do all the talking for us.
Yes. But I've been having a lot of fun with that. So
Oh God, me
that's
too.
been what I've been doing.
I'm sad to say after Sunday, and we will have one episode left on
We're
Tuesday.
gonna have to find a new gig.
Well, what we'll do is I've been thinking of doing Samurai Warriors 4 Empires for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because I might as well. Because I realize I'm gonna have to move some stuff around because the new Persona 5 spinoff is coming out in November, so I need to be done with P5 by then. And not because that game is long or I'm like afraid it would take too much time. It's just like, well, it'll be I'm gonna start it after probably early August.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because I'm out of town the week of July, during the last week of July.
All right.
So that's some scheduling for us coming in the near future.
Well, we will burn that bridge when we get to it very soon.
Yeah. But, it's just like, oh, hey, I'm going to have to do that, which means then I can do, I guess in September will be Yakuza 7.
Yeah.
And then it's Persona 5 Tactica sometime in November.
Shit, the lineup's going to be so good.
Oh, hell yeah. And then I guess December is going to be Cyberpunk 2077 for me.
All right.
Yeah, that's the preview. You're still drawing on Monday, obviously.
I am still drawing on Monday. Yep.
And even better yet, after this Monday, which is when this comes out, because these come out on a Monday, we'll be there. What do you think you're going to be drawing tonight? I know it's not tonight for us, but tonight when this comes out.
Whatever mad whimsy has seized the chat, I will allow that to guide me. Other than that, if nobody has any requests tonight, I will probably be working on some commission stuff. I got a big commission from somebody who was very kind, wanted me to draw their friend's D&D party, which I always love working on Dungeons and Dragons parties because there's something so cool about drawing people's characters that they've made, and especially people who aren't naturally big into the whole role-playing character creating thing. It's cool. It's so sincere and very endearing, and I love doing it. And there's some really cool designs. So if we don't get any recommendations, I might work on that a bit. But we'll see.
Well, with me being there will always be a recommendation.
Oh, of course. And I always appreciate them.
I'm always ready to fill the world with weird ideas.
I always really appreciate the requests because y'all get me to draw some stuff that I would not draw otherwise, and I feel like I don't know, it's a nice challenge and it's fun and I like doing it, and hopefully it makes people happy. So
I mean, I enjoy it, so at least one person likes it.
Hey, well, there we go then. My work here is done.
I'm playing Final Fantasy 16. More thoughts coming later. I'm only 5 hours. I'm not even 5 hours in, so.
Give yourself some time.
I only kind of just started exiting out of the tutorial, because I saw Across the Spider-Verse last night instead of playing video games. There you go.
But yeah, I think that's about the long and short of it for today.
Yeah, a surprisingly short episode. I wasn't sure how long this was going to go.
Yeah, but you should watch Across the Spider-Verse. It's so good. Also watch Into the Spider-Verse.
It's also good.
Hopefully watch them in order. Things make a tiny bit more sense that way. But you know what? I can't tell you how to live your life. You got to do that for yourself.
Indeed. So, yeah, if you want to follow Sardo here, the lovely Sardo, the pink skeleton,
Yes.
you can follow him on Twitter at Autopsy Garlands. Our Twitter is Marquis Belial.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're linked, so if you go find at Autopsy Garlands,
Yes.
you'll find the other one, so it's not too hard.
I post things
Yeah.
once in a while, so you should follow me.
On Twitter at Almighty Stross, and on Twitch that you are at Uncle Death with a K instead of a C.
Yes.
And you'll show up on Twitch channel at Almighty Stross for tomorrow, I believe, for Sunday.
I will. Yes,
and
I will.
Probably Tuesday.
Also, a quick announcement. The one other, I guess, social media thing, probably against my better judgment, I'm doing Art Fight this year.
Ooh,
so
explain that to the peoples.
Art Fight is a really cool thing where basically it's like a big mass art trade. You join the site, it starts July 1st, and you get assigned one team or the other. And basically your goal is to go around to people of the opposite team and attack them by drawing pictures of their original characters. And the goal is to like earn the most points for your team. But it's super fun. It's a cool way to draw other people's OCs and get a ton of cool art for your own. So I'm also on Uncle Death there, Uncle Death with a K, because of course Uncle Death by itself is already taken. But yeah, I still need to put all my stuff up on there. I just decided today I wanted to do this, but you should find me on Art Fight if that is your thing, and it'll be fun.
Wee. Anything else you want to tell the dear audience before we go?
I love you all.
Oh, we love you.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. I don't know. I think it's neat that we get to do this, and it makes me happy that sometimes people listen to it and hopefully enjoy it. So thank you very much.
Sardo, there is one last thing.
What?
Happy 20th episode.
Yeah!
This is our 20th episode. We did it, everyone. We've done at least 20 of these things.
Hooray! Good work, Stross. High five. High five from across the internet. Yeah,
you're welcome.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah, me too. So just remember, folks, if you want, I will be streaming Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People's last episode on Tuesday after this comes out.
Woo!
You're probably going to be there.
Yeah, I am.
You're going to be here basically the entire time.
I'm committed.
No, I mean, like, also because I'm doing 4 Empires, you're probably also going to show up for that.
I'm definitely going to try to show up for most of it.
Yeah. You don't have to be there the whole time, but it's just like, well, here we are. Anyway, folks, thank you all for coming. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.